super proud of our team. You win the turnover battle 3-0. It's generally a pretty good result for your team.
We're the only people that are going to come back into Shem on Monday are the guys who are going to want to put the work in to be better. We're better than what we showed today.
Michigan got bullied, and it's just that simple, but that's okay. Why? This is a rebuild for a Michigan team and a championship window for a Texas team. New head coach Sherrone Moore has a huge quarterback issue on his hands. This will be the first real test since the departure of Jim Harbaugh. And this lack of quarterback play is affecting what they want to do on offense, such as run the football. On the flip side, you have Steve Sarkisian, who has retooled this team, revamped it in the transfer portal, added little small pieces here and there to add to what was already a good team. This is not a transfer portal team. It was already a good team. He just added the missing links to fill in the gaps because a lot of guys left and went to the NFL. So even though this Texas team was a clear favorite coming into this game, many people, including myself, wanted to see could Michigan stay in this ball game. They couldn't, but overall, the game was interesting to watch despite it. Quinn Ewers had a pretty good game. The offensive line of Texas looked very good. And we're going to talk about all of that in today's video. But before we get into that, make sure that you guys like, comment, and also subscribe to the channel. Help a brother out. And with that, let's get into this video. So the game really begun with the second possession for Texas. Quinn Ewers would throw dimes during this entire drive, finishing off this drive with a nice throw down the middle for a touchdown. Michigan would get the ball back and honestly, in my opinion, have a missed opportunity here in the red zone. They call a play as a QB run, and it was very obvious that was what they were going to do. Too predictable in that situation, so they had to settle for a field goal. And I'm glad they didn't go for it on fourth down, but that's a situation where if you gain some yards there, you could potentially have went for it on a 4th and 1 situation. But with this answer came a long drive by Texas, because the offensive line for Texas was just way too good for Michigan to handle, leading to a 7-yard touchdown run by Jared Gibson. And on this play specifically, you could see the floodgates open right up. And it was at this point I thought to myself,
this is bad. This is very bad.
Michigan is getting bullied like they bullied people last year. Texas basically out Michigan. But this isn't the same defense. This isn't the same defensive coordinator. Him and Harbaugh are now in LA with the Chargers. But Don Wink Martindale is a guy I think is a perfect fit here. And I believe he knows what he's doing. The guys on defense were in the position to make plays every single time a big play was made. However, sometimes it's just as simple. Texas got guys over there. Michigan right now, they don't have that. They're in a developmental stage. Plus, you have a quarterback who isn't that good. And anytime you come into a season not knowing who the QB is going to be, you're probably going to have some things like this happen, setting up Texas for what would eventually be another score. And now it's 17-3 in the second quarter with about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. And for Michigan, a team that really wants to be methodical in their approach, it's hard to do that if you continue to give the ball away, especially when you lack the ability to have super explosive plays. That's a horrible combo. They would much rather play smash mouth football, limit the turnovers, control the time of possession, and that's the path to success for this Michigan team. And if it wasn't the QB making mistakes, the wide receivers made a few mistakes as well. Colston Lovely had a costly fumble in this game to set Texas right back up for another score. And throughout this game, the Michigan D-line did not look the best because that Texas offensive line is just that good. But I got to talk about the corners as well. Michigan corners did not look good at all in this game. They were getting sauced up too, just like on this play. The halftime score would be 24-3 after another Quinn Ewers dime to Matthew Golden. And at halftime, Texas had 278 yards. Michigan had 88. It's not looking good for Michigan right now against Texas, but this is a rebuild. But a lot of the damage that was done in the first half to this Michigan team was self-inflicted wounds. And I'm not saying the outcome would have been different, but the score, a lot of that's on Michigan and that offense, which put the defense in a horrible position with all of those turnovers. And then we come out of halftime. Michigan would score first. They'll put up 3 after a nice chunk play by the QB that extended the drive. But unfortunately, once again, it would end just like their last drive. On a 3rd down play, they tried another quarterback run, and right there, it was a read play. I guess it was the wrong read, and he runs right in the middle, and they have to settle for a field goal. And I harped on this during their last scoring drive. They have to find a way to be more creative in these 3rd down situations, because the Texas defense knew exactly what they was going to do. And when I say creativity, it doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of movement, but where was the build up to that play? What made you think it was going to be anything else but a run. And you have shown me all day that you haven't necessarily been able to get a lot of push from your O-line in these situations. You're probably going to want to do something different. But then Texas would answer once again with a long run by Ryan Wingo, which eventually led to a touchdown catch by Jaden Blue. That would pretty much be your ball game right there. Michigan would go down and score late in order to make the score 31-12, but the game was pretty much over at that point. Quinn Ewers finished with a pretty good stat line, 24-36, 246, 3 TDs. And on the flip side, Davis Warren finished 22-33, 204 with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Throughout majority of this game though, Michigan was really shooting themselves in the foot with a turnover and another turnover, a fumble. A lot of things went wrong for Michigan. And if I'm Sharon Moore right now, I got to call the boosters and tell them, look, we need some NIL incentives. We got to get us a QB down here. It's the era of the portal. If you're a Michigan fan, you need to be flipping through it to see who you can get next year. But I don't know, maybe he can improve. We'll see. We shall see. Like I said, this is a developmental year. He has an entire year to prove himself. I think the defense is eventually going to be good. They had splashes in there where they looked pretty good because most of the time during this game, Texas had shorter field position to work with because of those turnovers by the offense. And on the flip side though, Texas looks pretty good. And you got to give a shout out to the Texas Longhorns defense. They did a good job. They stopped them on third down. I don't know how many times I saw third down and Michigan just simply could not convert. Looking at it right here, third down efficiency 3 for 12 for Michigan, which is an insane number for that Longhorns defense. They pretty much kept Donovan Edwards in check, who really hasn't had that big game in the regular season. Now, in other big games, say a playoff game, he shows up, but I don't necessarily know how much of that is the fact that, well, you can't pass the ball, so teams just stack the box. And so now it's not working in the more traditional running game, or is it a line prop? I don't know what it is, but Donovan Edwards has to step up and play a little bit better at some point in time. But at the end of the day, that defense of Texas probably is just that good. They're going to be in the mix like everyone knew they would. Quinn Ewers is going to build a Heisman case by the end of this season. And Steve Sarkisian really does a fantastic job with calling plays. When he was at Alabama, I used to see some of the concepts, some of the things he was running, and I was just used to be like, this man's brilliant. I got to give it up to him. I'm a huge fan. Even though he's with Texas right now, I got to appreciate what he did for the Crimson Tide. I'm an Alabama fan if y'all ain't know that. And I wonder how far this is going to drop Michigan in the top 25. Because when Florida State got beat down by Georgia Tech, who I think lost today, they didn't drop out of top 25 initially. So, hey, Michigan, you'll still be in the mix. And at the end of the day, we could find out that Michigan is decent because the running game may become pretty good at some point in time down the line. But truth of the matter is, Texas is just simply on another level. They do play Georgia October the 9th, which could potentially be the game of the year. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. All in all, a solid win for Texas in their pursuit of a championship. Leave all your thoughts and comments down below in the comment section. And if you made it this far, much respect.